Hello Andreas, welcome to our stand here in Cannes during the Cannes Boat Show 2021. I guess you all have seen the original model of Awake Rävik One, which was our debut model, which we launched here in Cannes 3 years ago. As you all know, this is sort of the all-round board, which was intended for, say, families, but also the sporty families who wants to go, let's say, be able to go fast, even though it's a fairly stable board, and really aim to have both, let's say, the younger ones and also the older ones, so all different skills levels. And going on, this is the Awake Rävik S, which we introduced last year, and the Rävik S is a much more sporty model and represent, I would say, our DNA as a brand. So this is our signature model, and it's really developed with performance, with agility, responsiveness in mind. This is the board we did a backflip with. This is the board we surfed the waves in Portugal with. So we're really trying to push it as much as we can to see how far we can basically go. And I think that we have only experienced a tiny bit of what this board can do. So we're always trying to challenge ourselves and of course see what we can do and what new tricks we can come up with. But for us, this board represents Awake as the DNA, and this is where we come from, and we're very proud of this model. Okay, so here we have a closer look on the bottom side of the hull, and as you can see, you have a fairly technical design which has a lot of thought behind it. First of all, you have on the side, each side here, you have pretty steep carving rails. And these are, let's say, the rails that really helps you to push water in the turns. You also have these channels, which of course is part of the carving rail design, but there's also another purpose to it, and that is when you go fast, you want to have as little surface area as possible touching the water. So the whole idea here is that when you go full speed, you should lean a little bit backwards, and so you basically minimize the drag from the water when you go. So this helps you, even though the volume is small, it helps you to reach really high top speeds. We have our traditional signature drivetrain where you have the motor fully exposed. You have passive water cooling, no cables, from the outside, very simple construction, which of course helps the durability. And you have our quite unique jet, which is sort of a linear jet. And what this does is, compared to a traditional water jet, is that when you go in choppy waters, you don't lose grip as you do with let's say a traditional jet ski or other similar products. Because what this do is even though it's choppy, it sort of like eats the water anyway, and that means that you have a really high acceleration and constant grip when you're doing slalom turns and playing around. And just to show you some small continuous improvements that we do at Awake, we are constantly trying to, let's say, focus on the quality, focus on the durability, and this is a good example where usually it's quite common that you get corrosion on the contact pins, which is, understandable since you're operating in salt water and you have electricity. What we've done here is that you can change the pins from the outside, so you can basically screw these off. You can buy new spare pins if they get worn out, and before that was not possible, and I think we're the only one in the industry doing that. Alright, moving on to the third and last model of our product range. This is the Awake Rävik 3, and this is, you could say, a combination of the learnings from the Rävik One, which was more wider in its design, very stable, and the Rävik S, which is smaller, much more agile. So here we try to combine the characteristics of both boards. So what you see here is it looks similar to the Rävik One, but it actually has different shapes. You have a more narrow rear, more the balance point more in the middle, and what that does is that Basically for a beginner it will be very stable, a great board to learn, but also for the more skilled riders, I mean, you just put up the power and you can actually turn with it really well as well. So the Rävik 3 was all about finding a really good mid-range where both beginners but also the more advanced riders can have a really good time. And I think we've done it pretty well. So you can see on the lines it's a little bit more smoothed out, more in terms of the design, more in terms of aesthetics. The whole board, I would say, is an optimized version of the Rävik One, where you also get some of the really fine and unique characteristics of the Rävik S.